Noob D&D Dad here. We're going to do a session recap with my little boy's campaign, which is his session 15. We're going to go to Buttermilk Ranch and also have some adventures along the way. So the party sets off for Conyberry, which you can see is up the road from Phandalin. It takes about 2 days to get there. And the players have been super excited to go there, I guess because it's a new town. They think there might be new stores there where they can buy things or sell things. So they've been very, very excited to go to Conyberry. Little do they know, not just because I changed the campaign and had a volcano go off and destroy a bunch of stuff, but because in the actual book, Conyberry is supposed to be just like destroyed, laid waste, like there's nothing there. So there's just this little spark of joy in me that I'm like, oh, you're not gonna like what you see when you get there. So since it's a 2-day journey for them, I wanted them to be able to encounter some stuff along the road. And so I had there be lots of refugees, right, from the volcano going off. And I had there be a thief. And they had to roll high enough to see if they could stop the thief from thieving them. And they totally did. And so the thief wasn't really able to do anything. And now once they're about 5 or 6 miles outside of Conyberry, I create one of my favorite road encounters that I used with the veterans group. So I thought I'd use it with my son's group as well, because I'm DMing for 2 different groups. So there's an obstruction across the road. There's a tree that's been dragged across the road with piles of bushes on either side. And then they turn around, and behind them, well, they don't turn around yet, but behind them is one of these red leather rocker gang guys. So his name's Carl. He's the leader of the gang, and he's got a ballista, and he's got his leg up on the ballista, and he's got long hair, and it's blowing in the wind. He's got red leather pants, tight red leather jacket, and he says to the group, he says, "Where do you think you're going with all that cool gear?" Right? Because they just totally look like adventurers with a bunch of expensive stuff. So that's what makes them turn around. They turn around and see this dude in tight red leather with long hair blowing in the wind, and he's just like standing there with his leg up on the ballista all confidently. I can't remember the exact conversations they had between them, but a fight breaks out, and they fire the ballista. Eventually they miss. It hits into a tree. My friend the sorcerer, he's doing the Naruto thing and casting a whole bunch of himself, and everyone's just like missing really bad. Like the bad guys are just missing, and it's the veteran stat block from the book right here, but I've toned it down a little bit. I lowered the AC and the hit points, but eventually the main guy Carl gets like, what's it called, a witch bolt attached to him, and it's like burning his arm, and his whole sleeve is burned off, and he's like, ah. And so he basically wants his group to disengage, but the other two red leather rockers are not so sure if they want to disengage. But one of them gets shot, I think, with a fireball, and it burns a hole in his chest, so his red leather jacket is burned, and it just like kills his morale. He's like, oh, look what they did to my jacket. Like their leader he's like in incredible pain from this witch bolt. And so they decide to retreat, but the whole time the guy retreating is like, oh man, like look at what you did to my jacket. So they haul away their leader, who's like stumbling because he's so wrecked by this witch bolt. And so my son's party gets to loot their stuff they left behind, because these guys kind of left their packs and their bags and stuff behind so that they could do this ambush, right? So here's all the stuff they found from the really good investigation roll from our team here. So they found 2 whetstones for sharpening. They found 15 crossbow bolts. They found 100 feet of hemp rope. And this is the part where I really like having them just like find stuff that I have no idea why I'm having them find it, but that they can come up with using it later. So they found 15 feet of fuse. I'm sure there's a fuse equivalent in D&D. 50 feet of wire. They found a donkey for pulling the ballista. The donkey's name is Carl Jr. He has a gold tooth and a gold earring, so it looks like a pirate donkey. They found some splint armor, hand axe, mace, flail, 3 water skins, and one of them stinks. 5 candles, 20 matches. And they also found like their bedrolls and stuff, and one of the bedrolls stinks. So I'm just having like, apparently one of the bad guys just stinks. Just adding flavor. All right, now maybe I got them excited or nervous for no reason on this next part, but once they get about half mile outside of Conyberry, there's like a street sign being like conyberry ahead or whatever. But I had somebody paint on it. I don't know if it was in blood or what, but it says dead inside, right? Like, so immediately they're like, it's zombies. And honestly, I was kind of trying to mislead them a little bit, but I just wanted to see what they would do. And also, sometimes when I have this stuff happen, I haven't yet decided what it's going to mean and what's going to happen from it. Like, I do read the module in here before, and I take notes, and I have things I want to do. But then during the campaign, I'm like, yep, I'm going to have a sign. It's going to say dead inside. And then I'm like, am I going to have like skeletons attack or zombies attack? And I'm like, no, they should get to their place, because sometimes a session takes a lot longer, like a mission takes a lot longer, because I just have all these side encounters keep happening. But maybe that's just me being selfish. But I love just presenting them with things out of my brain instead of out of the book to see how they react. So sadly, I did not have skeletons or zombies be there. I just have it be a burnt out and destroyed town. They search around for a little bit, and I decided that since they were searching so diligently, I'd let them find some stuff. So they find a closet in like a town hall type place, and it has a halberd, 3 spears, and a warhammer in it, because why not? So they get to Butterskull Ranch, and I decided to have the orcs all spread out in various places on the map. So in the orchard, I have one orc systematically going through the orchard, just chopping the trees down. So about half the orchard is just chopped down, and this orc is just chopping them down. And so the players basically all like send firebolts and arrows and everything and just totally overkill this guy. But I always like, I think that I've been having the most fun with orcs because I feel like they're stupid and dangerous. And so you're going to see something I have them doing here in a little bit. But yeah, just chopping trees down, just being just generally destructive. But I have to back up a little bit. So hold that thought. They're coming up on the ranch with some orcs in it. But on the road up to Conyberry, they had to take a long rest, right? Because it's a 2-day trip. So they go off into the trees, and I have them roll like a survival roll or whatever. They do a little fire, and then the elf basically stays up most of the night because he doesn't need to sleep as long. And so I have them encounter some stuff. What do they have them encounter? There's some bats. They see some bats in the trees, and then like I say, okay, there's something watching. You feel like there's something watching you. And I'm telling this just to one player because the other players are asleep. And I said, you feel like something's watching you. Anyway, like going on. And when I said that, I didn't know if I would lead to anything. But if they decided to chase after it or something, yeah, absolutely, I would create some interesting thing. But they just ignored it. And I'm like, okay, so you're being watched in the woods and you're ignoring it? Okay. Nothing. I haven't had anything come of it yet, but I just thought it was interesting that I gave them a little hook, and they didn't investigate it at all. All right, so they get to the farmhouse, and there's black smoke coming out of the kitchen, because I have them in there on the floor basically with a rotisserie cooking chickens, and an orc sticks its head out the window to see what's going on, and I think they shoot it with a firebolt. There's one part where they shoot an orc has its head out the window, and they shoot a ballista, and it hits it, and I have it just pull the whole orc out the window. Anyway, the orc combat I really enjoy. I just enjoy having like all the orcs be like, yeah, let's go attack, and then just having one sitting behind, like picking its nose, or one that's still sitting down at the fire, like eating chicken or something. I love to just have the orcs, like just 10% of them just be doing something really stupid and unintelligent. So anyway, they fight the orcs in this building. They're shooting the ballista at them, and one of the orcs gets frustrated that it can't hit anything, and so it throws a rotisserie chicken at them. And I guess my son like picks it back up and just like throws it back through the window at them. So there's just like this burnt chicken getting thrown back and forth. And anyway, my party's laying waste to these orcs. They're really not too big of a challenge at this point. And they decide to go downstairs into the cellar, and they find Big Al. And this is where we had to end, so session 16 actually picks up right here. All right, so one of my favorite things is to have Big Al tell the party about the Shrine of Savras. So they find Big Al, and the rest of the house isn't cleared yet, so they use him to basically help them know the points of entry and what's in each room. So anyway, they find their way in, they work their way upstairs, they start opening the doors one at a time, and Big Al's going to give them the mithril armor, right? The chainmail. And in the bedroom, I have them, they kick open the door. And this is Big Al's bedroom, so he's got kind of a bigger bed. And there's 3 orcs in there, and they're they're all just jumping on the bed. So the party just starts blasting them, and they're fighting and falling off the bed, and it's anyway, I have fun with it. So I know I don't want to make the villains like not scary because they can still hurt and kill my party, but I definitely enjoy making them just be doing the dumbest stuff. So they defeat all the orcs on the property, and Big Al tells them about the Shrine of Savras. He tells them that rumor has it that the whole an entire town's treasure is there, right? So just kind of a hook, but that it's been occupied by bad people or orcs or whatever. So it definitely, the party's like, we are going there. We want treasure. And I do my favorite thing as of late, which is have them roll a D100 on the treasure table. And I didn't write down what they got, but it's so fun to just get them some random treasure. Like I don't know if I get so much joy out of the random treasure table. I know that I need to plant like specific items that will be helpful, but I love the randomness. Like the vet group got like 6 potions of climbing. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but I love the random treasure table. Anyway, so they saved Big Al, and they get his cow back. He's so happy. All right, I'm gonna pick up with them in session 16, going to the Shrine of Savras for next time. But they get up to some crazy shenanigans there. Also, I improv a basement to the Shrine of Savras, which I'm pretty excited about. All right, this has been Noob D&D Dad with session number 15 from my son's group, and a little bit into session 16. And thank you so much for watching. I think it's so fun to be able to talk to all of you about this. And thank you for watching. This is not a fancy channel, fancy background, fancy editing. It's just me sitting down and talking to you. And I appreciate that there's an audience for this, and it's been so exciting to see it grow. So anyway, thank you so much. Make sure you tell your mom about this, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.